Okay, I'm going to do this as a quick update. The time has just been short. Work schedule's been out of sight, temperature's been out of sight, everything is just, kind of overwhelming. But I want to give you a quick update on what's going on. And because I'm kind of in between projects from the way the videos have come out, and it's hard to finish one up when you start another one, and that's, unfortunately the nature of some of the stuff I run into. It's life in general for me. It's just all over the gamut of things. It doesn't matter. Anyway, what I'm getting at here is the last video you saw me working on this 5.3. It has been complete for about a month or better. It's obviously plasticed up, and I'm waiting for. I still haven't ordered the primer. It really isn't going to do me any good because the engine's probably going to sit for a time until I can get to the next project in that line, which is why I have not started on. This is covered with Nissan parts, but this is a 6-liter. I will get to this one as soon as possible also. But I have furniture I need to finish, a bedroom that needs finished, and all these parts laying around here which are a complete disaster. I know. Yes, it's easier to pull the front axle. I said this on a video I may not have put out yet. On this 92 Nissan Pathfinder, I'm putting that engine in. So the next set of videos you'll see will probably be on this Nissan. I ran into a few things. Some of it was my fault, some of it was not. It's obviously not in yet. And well, the motor's in, but it's not obviously complete. And I'm still working on it. Work schedule has left me 1 day out of 7 to work on this. So I had to obviously take care of other things. Yard needs mowed, air conditioning's down in the house, been working on it. Got a part, trying to find a part for it, and pay bills, the stuff that you got to do when you're working. But anyway, so what I'm getting at though is I've got to make some changes. As you see, this garage, like always, when you look in the background, is always a disaster, and that has got to change. I've got to get on a project instead of 10 projects. So with that said, some things have got to go, and I've talked about this thing before. The 04 Avalanche, I've got to paint the hood. I'm going to buff the thing out, stick some pinstripe on it, and getting rid of it one way or another. It's got to go. And although I have done very few to little videos on this 76 Malibu, this is the one with the 5.3 03 Tahoe engine in it. I like this car, but anybody who's watched the videos, I have one tore completely apart into 10,000 pieces over at the shop. That's my boys, and I've come to the conclusion I'm not going to be able to do 2 of these. Basically, this thing needs the same thing. It really needs completely stripped. It needs a hood, it needs a driver's fender, it needs a driver's quarter, it needs a passenger door. The interior does not match with the seats and stuff I put in it. It needs an overdrive transmission. It needs a different gear set. I'm going to need rear tires for obvious reasons. This is the reason the door needs replaced. It got wrecked. I did a little bit of work on it here a while back, but it's pretty rough. Yes, I could smooth it out, but it's creased here all the way to that door handle, and then it's creased down here bad enough that I don't think that I'm going to be able to. I mean, I could pull the skin or even a section of the skin. It's just not worth it. And they have the mud so thick. This quarter was actually replaced. They have the mud so thick on this thing, it's cracked. It's going to have to go clear down the steel, and I have done some of it down there, and I know the primer job looks bad. I took it back down the steel. It was rusting. Now it's doing it again because the day I primed it, it was just really hot and the sun was on it because I'm out of space in the garage, and this is why it needs a quarter. It was repaired previously. It had a patch on it, and you can see how thick the mud is, and yeah, it's bad. And they patched it. If you look inside the trunk, this whole thing is cracked everywhere, and then it got wrecked again. The guy who had this, the kid who had it, I think drove through a fence, and this is actually bent out. It's tore up here, and it's tore up on the inner fender's tore up. This is actually bulged out. I beat it back in. It's got another crease there. It's really, really bad shape. The hood itself has where somebody looked like they stepped on it or whatever, and it's got a low spot in there which makes it hard to pull that kind of a dent out. I could possibly do it, but it really needs a cow hood if I'm going to keep this engine, this LS engine, in it with a truck intake. I've had to modify some stuff just to keep it under the hood, and So it's not that the car is not fixable. It's just I am not going to be able to get to this. I have several other projects over at the shop that I'm going to have to get done, because the shop's going to have to start getting emptied out. I just have too much stuff. My wife and I really want to get a Class A, possibly a Class C motorhome, and I have to have it over the shop. I cannot get it up my driveway. The driveway's too steep at the beginning, and even my car trailer drags real bad pulling in and out. So if I try to get something that's a diesel pusher with a long back on it, no matter whether it's Class C or Class A, there's no way it's going up this driveway. So it's going to have to park over at the shop, and I want my car trailer over at the shop too. So both those things take up a tremendous amount of space, and so I'm gonna have to cut some throats whether I want to or not. So and plus I'm starting work. I've got to get concrete work done, and I've got to build this back deck on here. There's just a lot of things going on. So the update basically is, I hate that I have to get rid of some of this stuff, but these things are obtainable. I'm finding these not in the best of shape, but I can always find these A bodies, especially El Camino or whatever, which I did a video, but I don't know if I ever put it out, on actually my idea of a daily driver car, and my idea, because of what I do, always hauling something, is an El Camino. So I have an 80 El Camino I did not do a video on. You probably see it in the background if I did any Nissan videos early on the 95. It's still on the trailer. Oh, you know, I got to haul that off today, as a matter of fact. So that's something else I got to do today. I'm waiting for my wife to get home with dinner, and then, like I said, got stuff through. So the camera works bad. I just tripped on something. But anyway, guys, so we've got to do some throat cutting, and when I get some more information together, I will, of course, bring it up. If anybody has any questions on any one of these vehicles prior to me getting to them, or selling them, I don't have a whole lot of a video on some of those vehicles. Some of them I have more than I should. Some of them I didn't put all the videos out on, just for the simple fact that time, or it wasn't relevant, or just like now, I'm just talking, I'm not getting anything done. And so I'm going to try to make it to where I'm still not really doing a whole lot of how-tos, because there's some things that are just difficult to show on camera. It's wow. I mean, there's some things that are just difficult. There's just this engine swap. I did nothing on the rebuild. I did nothing on the swap, really. I did a little bit of diagnostic things on it. And then when this engine, which is the rebuilt one, it's a 3-liter Nissan V6. You'll get into it more. I did a video of what I thought was a complete fail on this engine, and then after I sat there and thought about it, I found out that what I was doing was it was wrong. It's my fault. It didn't really change it actually made me change my thinking process. This is why you have to think these projects through, and some of the things that happen and don't happen, instead of throwing in the towel or listening to other people who may or may not know what they're talking about. Because as much as I enjoy working on these things, there are times that I do stuff even after all these years. I'm in my 50s, all these years of working on cars, since I can remember, every once in a while something will come up that I have never seen or heard of before. And it's not new technology that's doing it, it's sometimes basic common sense things. And that's what happened in this case, and I will show you that video on this. It was kind of a funny deal. It did make sense to me. I asked several friends who are car friends, and they thought the same thing I did right off the bat, until I explained to them what happened and then why it happened, and then they all, yeah, well, that makes sense. And so it's just a learning experience. You don't learn if you don't grab a wrench and tear it apart. That's the only way you're going to learn how to do it. Watching videos, watching other people do it on TV is great, and sometimes you have to do that. You have to do that. I put videos out to not only sometimes show people. That's why I do so much more talking than I do working. It's more of an information thing to me, to explain some of these little things, some of the things that I run into, and some of the things you got to watch for. And these Nissans, I've said this on several videos that may or may not have been put out. These are a pain in the butt to work on, guys. They're a pain in the butt. There's nothing easy about these. pulling the air conditioner was probably the easiest thing to do on this thing. The rest of it is a pain in the butt. So with that said, I will get back on this Nissan. The 5.3 is kind of off the block right now until I got it completely built a month or so back. After you saw that last video of me doing the oil pump, that's basically the last video I did on it, because most of everything else was just like I'm doing now, like I said, was talking. So I'm going to get off here. Hopefully when I get you back, it'll be showing you some of this Nissan. Well, I know the next set of videos are going to be on the Nissan, and then we will be it's actually rebuilding the engine. I didn't show much on rebuilding. It was more of a process. This is where I'm at, this is what I'm doing and stuff. But so stay tuned if you like the Nissan idea, or going through engines that you may not ever worked on or seen before. And hopefully the next big video will be this thing actually starting for the first time. So we'll catch you then.